Hello again and welcome to this series on how to draw wild animals. Before we start, of course, if you could subscribe, that would be great. Thank you very much. And also, ring that little bell icon if you want to know what's coming up next. Okay, well, the wild animal we're drawing today is a lion, and a very powerful, compact, but also very graceful animal. And we're going to start with the rough shape of the head, which is a curve there, and then comes in slightly and out again and back in to the bottom. So it's got that kind of strange shape there, almost like a vase. See that? Now across the top part here are the eyes. Now the eyes are kind of diamond shaped. You know, they come up like that, back down, and then underneath again like that. That's more of a curve. But you can see the kind of rough diamond shape there. The other one starts about here, and then goes up to the point, and the bottom part more of a curve. The pupil covers the whole eye, of course, but you do get the center part coming in here, the highlight on it, and the other one coming in about there. Okay, I'll just put a bit of shading on that. And you do get a bit of an extension of the corner of the eye here. And this curve here coming around, and then another little line doubling up underneath there. The same with this side here. And then you get a very broad nose coming down at an angle there. You got a kind of line across the top here. A very broad nose, that kind of shape there. The bottom part, the actual nose itself, is a kind of Y shape. It's got a curved top like that, and then comes down and does that, almost like a classic head of a bison. See that there shape there? And the nostrils are in here and in here, with the kind of line in the middle there. And then, like all cats, that has a line coming down from the center of the nose to the mouth. And in this case, it slopes away on either side. You just see a little bit of the bottom lip coming in here, like that. And in the case of the lion, you get the kind of cheek shape coming up on either side there, on there. And there's the side of the kind of vase shape I was talking about there, coming in there. Then going back up, around the kind of cheekbone shape on the lion, up to the forehead, which stretches to the top of that shape I was drawing earlier. And that line there is actually the bottom of the lion's hairstyle. You know, it kind of springs up from here. Nice kind of tufty shape, covering that area there, parallel to the top of that shape that I made earlier. But all these hairs are kind of sticking up. It comes down to the side of the forehead there. And you get a kind of shaded bit of kind of triangular shading in here. To the left of that, sorry, you have, I said, the hair coming round, but you see the ear, which is a kind of curved shape, appearing in like that. And the actual mane carries on a big slope down behind it there. I'll do that in a second. But it continues around the side of the head of the lion, like that, following in, coming in a wee bit there, and then coming back out again, and a curve down towards the actual chin. And this part, the shape here, follow that line into it there, and you get the chin, it kind of almost juts out slightly, like that. So you get that kind of shape there. And then the rest of the face, draw a line from there, continue up the side, like that. And of course you get a nice bit of shading going down the side of the eye, coming in there. And then from here you get another line coming up towards the bottom of the eye there. So these are the main lines I'm drawing in for the shape of the lion. Now, the great mane that surrounds its face comes in almost like a big triangular shape down to here and back up again. So you get these lines coming down here, little long hairs. You can draw, make sure you draw them nice and gracefully like that, coming up on this side of the triangle. And the reason it's a triangle is because these hairs at the front lighter than the rest of the hair. So this kind of hair shape comes in, see that big triangular shape there? Well, as it comes behind the ear and down towards the back, which continues along here, all this is really quite dark, great big mass of dark hair along the top part of the lion's back. And the darkness starts about here and goes up and joins this part that comes around the side of his body. Okay, so let's move up to, this is all dark as I said, you move up to the back, which comes in a slight curve of that up, and then fairly sharply back down again. Back down to one of the back legs, which is out there, but the actual dimensions, the thickness of his body, come in from there to below this line here. See that? And it's curving, but coming up more towards this side. Then this side, lower here, higher there. And then that joins into the flank of the lion's leg. Comes out there, to almost the elbow shape, down to the big paws. Right, big toes here coming in with the claws in them. Before I go on to the other one, I'll just put the tail in. This comes down from the back, and it's broader at the top, gets narrower as it goes down towards the kind of little spear point, if you like, of hair at the end here. Okay, the other leg comes in, same shape, but comes in about here, with the back of the leg coming in there, and you get that nice curve, and the other foot coming in just slightly above this one here, about there, again with the big toes seen from the side there. Now, front legs, as I said, this great mass of hair here also continues down to kind of join the top of the leg here. And there's also a dark ridge of hair that goes along here, the underbelly of the, or the rather lower side of the lion, coming up to the haunch muscle here. Okay, front leg coming in about there, lots of bits of hair appearing there, and the front leg appears coming down about there. We're following this line like that. Again, great big toes, powerful big paws with the talons in them. And the other one, the other one comes in about here and closer together at the front. And again, the paws, you see one toe here coming in like that. Bit of heavy shading at the top here. And that curve underneath there. Doubling that line up. And then just shading in, oops, a broken point there, that's all right. You get that white highlight left there, see that? And the same here. And bring the center pupil down to there, leave a bit of highlight. And then a bit of weight in the pencil. Get that extended line coming at the corner of his eye, remember. And of course, once I start shading, I'll be putting, a bit of shading around here and so on. But I'll leave that for the moment. And I'm just putting in some shading here. Now, accentuating the side of the nose. That comes up a bit more of an angle there. Coming down that line of his nose. And then we're beefing up these lines here. And some shading around there. Okay, so I'm going to move on now towards the hair, the lion's mane, and I'm going to go right around here. And what I want to do is just, make sure that my lines are flicked out from the central point here and continue to the edge, like that. So we pick out the actual outline shape of the lion's mane. I'm going to do that all the way around here. Okay, I've outlined the main part of the mane, and now I'm going to move on to the back of the lion, just to accentuate this line. Coming around here, around the flank and the back, and indicate the muscles of the back here a bit better. That is a big flank muscle here. So, you know, and what it does, it comes across here and kind of joins up with the kind of the body shape. So you get a kind of slight indentation here. So you put that in. Again, you can just sketch it in with parallel lines. This is suggested just now. Same with that, and a bit darker along the back. And then down here, of course, let's toughen that up. So I'm going to go down these lines, and let's catch up here when I've done it. Okay, I'm just finishing off outlining these outlines that I've done here. Okay, I'm going to move on to the shading now. And as I said, there's a bit of shading along the back there, so I'm just going to put it in roughly just now. And you can go across your hatch lines like that to get a cross hatching, to get more depth to your shading, and then just use these hatch lines coming down to take a bit of shadow in there. And down the back of the leg as well, coming in here. It's going to indicate it, and then we'll refine it a lot better later. Again, indicate the darkness under here, coming down to there. Again, there's more hair coming in here. Down this side as well. Get that nice sketchy, rough feeling to your drawing. Okay, I'm going to go back over these again and refine them. A bit darkness in here, of course. But first of all, I'm going to move up here and I'm going to shade in this mass of darkness here for the back of the lion's mane. And it comes in right behind the ear. Remember that triangular shape? Leave that light. But as you come down to this bit, really start to put your shading in again. Like that. And join it in to the curls and lines at the end of the mane here. But again, this area can be shaded in quite sketchily, like that. Just fill it in. You can actually use your lines to suggest the way that the mane is falling. That's quite good to begin with, but then you can go over it. You start off like that, you know, and then you can actually go over it again to deepen the shading. So I'm going to work on that all right down here. And I'll work on the tail as well. Let's see what it looks like when I've done that. Right, I've done the mane, the dark part of the mane. I'm moving into the lighter part and putting a bit more shading onto that. Especially under the chin here, I get a lot of shadow, so you can use your pencil direction of the actual hair of the mane, the way it's coming in like that, so you get that kind of quality there. And a few more lines coming up here, maybe some in here, like that, and also the hair as it springs away from its forehead. And we can start a bit about shading in here now. The other ear's hidden under all this hair. So let's move to some shading on the forehead. This triangular shape here. And then we get that almost Egyptian look to the eye here. And a bit of shading coming in here, along the top of the nose. And you've got these little dot shapes, which of course are where the whiskers spring out. Wee rows of dots like that. Okay, and a few more lines up here. Shading there. Shading under here. Onto the body now. Again, I don't want this all too light, so I can sketch over it very quickly with some parallel lines. A simple hatching like that. That takes it down. And then I can start working on the back part here, because I want this to be a wee bit darker. Okay. And also coming around here as well. Just kind of keep on working on that, building it up. And a lot darker here. Actually, the dark hairs continue down here, so I'll work on that. the dark hairs there, and also along the bottom end of the side of the lion coming in here. And then the back here, the tail is very dark. At the top, it's in shadow there, kind of merges into the shadow here. And as it comes down, it gets a bit lighter. And then the tail end is very dark again. Okay, and I'm working on this, bringing that tone down. And also in here. And along the top of the paws here. And put in the talons a little bit dark shading there. Now it's very dark in here as well, so I'll put a bit of dark shading in there. And then some nice sketchy lines in here. You also suggest the kind of the texture of the lion's coat by doing that, the fur. Okay, a wee bit cross hatching here. Right, I'm just finishing off my sketching now. That gives a nice impressionistic look for the lion. I've thickened up the legs here a bit, by the way, because they're a bit thin to begin with. Now I'm going to move on to a pen. I've got a 5-point pen just to outline it and crisp it up, make it look a bit more graphic. Okay, and all I'm going to do really is to follow my lines as delicately as I can all the way around to give it that outline. Okay, when I come along the back here, I don't use a straight line, but I'll use a slightly broken line like that to suggest the hair on the lion's back. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing that right around the lion. Okay, I've outlined the outside shapes with the fine point, but not as fine as this, because I'm using this finer point just to tickle in some of the finer details of like the nose and so on, and round out the eyes, and a few bits of shading down the side of the face there. Excellent, so I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you can join me again for another tutorial very soon. But in the meantime, of course, all the best, and happy drawing!